Paul MacFarlane here with a friend I've known from many years. We've heard each other jibber jabber about what we do for a long time. And he reached out to me and I reached out to him. I am so happy to introduce you, or perhaps reintroduce you to my pal, Joe Nicassio. How are you, Joe?
I am too blessed to be stressed, too grateful to be hateful, and too anointed to be disappointed. I'm good.
Okay. You probably have a sense of me that I ask potentially difficult, but big, juicy, wonderful questions. Can I ask you one right now?
Sure. I was hoping we would ease
All right.
into this, but I'm ready.
Oh, no. See, I could get this whole interview done in 5 minutes, but we'll crack you open nice. All right. So I want you to think out of this mysterious, unknown expanse of the universe, in a tiny speck of one corner of that universe, in a very tiny galaxy, in that very tiny microscopic solar system, there's a tiny little rock orbiting around one of those hot spots that we call Earth. And for some reason, through the conversions of ancestors, spirit, divinity, time, space, and good fortune, person that is you, that is living inside that body right now, has arrived here at this time, at this place of the world. Why do you
Mm.
think you're here?
In the big picture, in my faith, I believe that we're not humans having a spiritual experience. We are spirits who have been given a body to learn lessons for our eternal progression. I am here. I've been on an unconventional journey to become who I am. And at this space and this place and this time, I feel that my mission and my purpose is to empower other human beings to transform the gifts that they have been given by our divine creator and their creativity to do things with those gifts, to be self-reliant as entrepreneurs. I feel like we live in a world where self-reliance is an important characteristic. So many people in our culture are reliant on employers. They're employer reliant, or they're government reliant, or they're charity reliant, or they're family reliant, church reliant, or they're family reliant, spouse reliant. But I think, and at some level, we always rely on others. But at some level, it's really nice that you can take your gifts from God, your gift from divinity, or I believe that children are born as geniuses, then conditioned into mediocrity. But I believe we're all children of God, and God gave us some stuff. And if we're creative, we can do something with those stuff so that we can prosper individually. We can prosper with the families and then our friends and the people around. We can prosper in a way that affects our community. And if we prosper at a high level, we can do some philanthropy or charity and help others. Because I really believe when good people make good money, they can do more good things. I don't know. That's a starting point for your question.
The last thing, it resonates because we've all, I hope, heard the idea that you can do well by doing, or do good by doing well. All right. Since I've opened this up, I think the next question will be much more practical, but it should underline a lot of things you said. Tell us about your journey that got you to doing what you're doing now. What were the obstacles and what were the miracles?
Okay. The obstacles. I think a large part of my journey was when I was a kid, I had this deep fascination with electronics. And I was tearing radios apart. And I took all these electronics classes. And I built little speakers out of Dixie cups. And I bought all the Heathkit things. I built a Heathkit television and a Heathkit stereo and darkroom timer, all these various things. I have a photography background, as I know you do too. And I just really fell in love with electricity and electronics and how you could make music and stereos and all this stuff. And also in that time, I also got exposed to computers. I was building a computer in high school electronics 2 years before DOS came out. So kind of raised on all this stuff and took a lot of electrical engineering classes, but I became a electronic technology troubleshooter. Okay. I would say that's a transferable skill that's at the root of who I am. I used to troubleshoot high-tech electronics. Today, I troubleshoot businesses and business owners and business processes. But anyway, did technology. My first job was stereo repair. I worked for Sanyo Electric. I became a field engineer for Eastman Kodak. I split off. I started my own business. I did that. I worked really hard and I hustled. I found this really cool software. I started marketing. I hustled very hard and I made over $1 million selling that software. And I was in over my head. It crashed and burned. I was really good at the technology. I wasn't good at the marketing, the selling, the business aspects. Plus, technology cycles are brutal. something's hot today, but by tomorrow it becomes ancient technology. And so I went through a lot of those cycles and it was brutal, but I made a lot of money, opportunity, but challenge, obstacle. I crashed and burned. My net worth was minus $250,000. It was pretty painful. I had mental health issues. I had to go, hardest day of my life was going to the Los Angeles Department of Mental Health saying I'm losing it. I was having all these nightmares and stuff. But they helped. But also something else that happened then, I accidentally found a brilliant mentor. I got something in the mail from Phillips Publishing and then later Tony Robbins about this guy named Jay Abraham. And he was doing something called the X Factor, which was this program. It was a 3-day weekend, lots of bonuses, and it was $5,000. And I went to this event, Paul. It was 500 people in the room that paid $5,000 to be there. That's $2.5 million. Okay, that's a pretty good weekend. And I learned so much. And the materials that they sent ahead of time were so good. This was stuff that I was not learning from Amazon or the normal bookstores. This was so way above that level. So I went to this event. It was life-changing. I was still in the throes of my crash and burn from my terrible business failure. And after the event, Jay's office called me and they said, "Hey, Joe, how you doing?" "Okay, good." They said, "Would you like to come to the next event?" I'm like, "I would love to. However, I'm still trying to pay for the first event." And they go, "We know. Can you barter?" And I'm like, "Barter? What could I do?" And they said, "We need transcription." And so, like Mr. Miyagi and the Karate Kid, it was wax on, wax off. I was listening to these audios with a yellow pad. I was transcribing with my finger on the rewind button to catch every word. And these audios were sorted by 30 topics. And it was Jay teaching, other experts teaching, participation from the audience teaching. It was like Montessori for business adult. And I was exposed to that. And I was a business adult receiving. And so I was transcribing all this. And then I listened to them again and typed them up into the computer. And all of my transcriptions, Paul, ended up going in the J. Abraham Marketing Encyclopedia. So even though I was low on cash, even though I had a big giant business failure, even though I was devastated psychologically, I was getting a world-class education. And I was at a trade show in about 1998, and I had Jay Abraham's list of the top 10 marketing mistakes almost every business makes and how to overcome them. And when you fix the marketing mistake, it becomes a marketing multiplier. And I'm at this giant trade show, small, medium, large, Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies with this checklist of marketing mistakes in every one of these companies. It's like 999 out of 1,000 of these companies were making these marketing mistakes. And I had this epiphany moment, this light bulb moment in my head. It was like, I am now a marketing consultant. I am no longer this technology, electrical engineering guy. And that was a moment that turned my life around because they were all making mistakes. I had absolutely no credibility with them because I just came off a major business crash. Tell us about the millions you've made. No, every master was once a disaster. I was in a really bad spot. But they were all making marketing mistakes and they were valid mistakes. And I knew if I could help them fix those mistakes, I could serve a lot of people. I wasn't even thinking, I knew that there was some kind of money component to it, but that wasn't my primary thought. And so that's really who I've become today. I used to troubleshoot technology. Now I troubleshoot businesses and business owners. I help them fix their marketing mistakes. I help their broken business machine run better. And let me just pass it back to you.
If anyone's taking notes at this point, steal what said and change the words, make your own great best-selling. They won't do that though, will they? That was human, vulnerable, and practical. So let me probe a little bit. All your years with technology, that first childlike wonder and enthusiasm with a crystal set or whatever, making things you knew were out there in the world, doing them yourself. The joy that you got from doing electronics, making them, and then fixing and repairing them and selling them, is that joy the same or different than the joy you get working with people now?
At the time, it was like my whole world was around that. I think part of my attraction to technology at the time was I was a very introverted person. I didn't have to deal with people. One of the first things I learned from Jay was really a quote from Dr. Peter Drucker, that because its purpose is to create a customer, business has two and only two functions, marketing and innovation. Marketing and innovation produce results, and all the rest are costs. And it's that human customer. We cannot have a business without that human customer. And I had to wake up to a whole other level of humanity. I think in many ways, I was held back to come forth at this time. In many ways, I wasn't a social animal, but as I learned business, I had to learn that it's human beings is what makes the world go around. Human beings, without a human being, we can't exchange value. It's hard to do things in isolation. Today, when I fixed electronics, I would take something broke and it would work. And in a way, it was like raising something from the dead. But the only thing is, when I raised the machine from the dead, it didn't say thank you. There was no human. But now, when I raise a business from the dead, when I help a business get healthier and thrive and prosper more, I get thank you. And I'm changing lives, I'm improving lives. And so there's the impact I make on a human being is 100 times bigger than any impact I could make on a machine. The machine fixing and repairing was very discreet and very measurable. And you could say distorted audio, crystal clear, beautiful, loud music. Okay. But with a human being, I get to impact their life in a much deeper way. And one of the lessons I've learned is that success is a me thing. I made so much. Success is a me thing, but fulfillment is a we thing. And when there's something very fulfilling, when I take somebody who's struggling in business and we fix one of their marketing problems and they put it into action and it works, they're like, thank you, Joe. I tried that thing and it worked. I feel that in my heart. When I lay my head on my pillow at night, I can smile and sleep with so much peace because I know I'm making a difference.
Thank you. I asked a good question. You gave me a good answer. You gave me better than the joy you get from knowing you did a good job with electronics and the joy you get from knowing you did a good job with a human being may be similar. Now, there are people who say that human beings have changed. I don't think so, but we can make another call about that sometime. But technology has changed. What is your relationship with technology like today compared to in the past?
Sometimes I hate it. I bought some technology recently. It was a CRM and it was supposed to do all these wonderful things. And I've created all these campaigns and I found out it really set me back 18 months. My emails could not get delivered to anywhere but the spam or the promotion tab. But it's like I'm on 100 tech support calls and they're saying it's working and it's clearly not working. I think technology is wonderful when it's working. I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to start a business. It's an internet business or a technology business. If you use a telephone, it's a technology business. And I think the tools today are phenomenal, but I also, I'm constantly asking myself, is this costing humanity? Like, for example, it used to be to write a sales letter, we would use our noodle. We might use a framework, a persuasion framework. We would have to think about it. And now we just type it into Chat GPT and it spits out things that look good, but I don't know if they necessarily work because they don't always cut to the heart like you would talk about. And so there's things I love about technology, but I also think that so many people they live within the technology that they are disconnected from not only humanity, but nature. I remember 5 years ago, I was driving from Santa Barbara to LA through the Malibu coast, and the sunset. It was a sunset, and it was a beautiful sunset. And as I was driving by, all these people, there was like a line of 200 people with their phones up, filming the sunset. It was like symmetry. It was crazy, like a sea of people holding their phone up, filming the sunset. And my thought was,
mentality, try to capture beauty.
Yeah, and it's like, why don't you put your phone down and just let it soak into the cells of it's going into the sensor in your phone, but it's not going in the sensors of your body. I love technology. I use technology. Sometimes technology frustrates me. I'll tell you what happened when I was having that email deliverability problem. First of all, I fired that company. The CEO said, we can't fix your problem. And I don't know how you could sell a CRM software if the emails can't get delivered. That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. So I did fire that company, but I started shifting my question from how do I get my emails delivered to a better question was, how can I connect my message to another human being, even if it's not email, any other way? Because I discovered, Paul, when I'm talking like me and you are talking right now, right now you're getting more from me because I'm doing more talking, but I get from you and you get from me and we get from each other. And I achieve so much more in a one-on-one conversation with a human being than sending out 1,000 emails that don't really connect. And it's a love-hate relationship, but I think it's pretty powerful.
I would say see better emails, but here's the question though. I noticed when you were talking about your relationship with technology. Am I correct that part of the frustration with modern technology is you can't just take the back off of it and fix it?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how somebody else has coded this. I don't know all the rules of
Right. So
DKIM and
when solder points and resistors and circuit boards to code, you didn't follow.
I,
You
I
couldn't.
can't see
Yeah.
that code. How could what frustrates me is I'll create a really good video with a really good message that if somebody watched that video, it would change their freaking life forever. And I'll take that video and I'll script it, I'll film it, I'll edit it, I'll create something pretty damn good. And then I'll put it inside of my Facebook group and 7 people see it. Or I'll paste it on LinkedIn and 22 people see it. And I'm like, I want thousands of people to see this. And
See, here's the problem.
it,
See this screen?
yeah,
It's only as big as it is. You can't make this
yeah,
bigger. But all the
right.
things that are trying to in that space, that's the trouble. Okay, but I'd like to shift now because this is very fascinating about the way your mind works, problem solving, self-learning, mastery of skills, and then the ability to see the ripple effect coming back to you. So let's go into how you serve people who may be employed who somehow inside them have a nagging question that maybe they want to start a business of their own. They thought about it. They're scared shitless. Maybe they've tried it. Maybe they haven't. Talk to me about how you meet people where they are in that situation.
Yeah, that's a big question too. First of all, I wrote a book about this called Resurrecting America's Entrepreneurial Spirit. A lot of people want to start a business, but they're scared. And first of all, we need to recognize that fear is a spiritual problem. It's not a knowledge problem. Fear is the opposite of faith. And it blows me away how really bright people are afraid of working in their own business because for a variety of reasons, okay? One of the big reasons people are afraid to start their own business, and I had to create a label for this, I call it income ambiguity. Income ambiguity. So I know that if I show up to this job, they will pay me my $4,500 a month. And those paychecks every Friday, they're there. I have income certainty. Now, the truth is they could probably make $500,000 a year in their own business or more. I'm just as a starting point. You can make the same or more money in your own business. Sometimes you have a $50,000 month and sometimes you have a $0 month. And that drives people crazy. They would rather make, $3,000 a month knowing that's going to be there than make $300,000 a year with income ambiguity. I think when you go to start your own business, and guess what? If you want to leave your 9 to 5, do it during 5 to 9. 5 in the morning to 9 o'clock or 5 at night till 9 o'clock. But you can allocate time. Don't quit your day job. I understand the importance of putting food on the table for yourself and the people you love.
Practical gratification, psychic gratification. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me take us a little deeper down the rabbit hole. If you want to have stability as you leave your job, number one, prove your concept before you leave your job. Do it as a side hustle. Show that you can make $1,000 or $2,000 a month part-time. Once you prove that, then you can, at some point, you can make the choice to go full-time and you can make more money with it. The other thing is, let me give you, I think, the 3 metrics. If you can master these 3 metrics, you can master success in your business. The first metric is leads every day. Can I get people to raise their hand and show interest in what I'm offering? Second metric is clients every week. If I can get people to raise their hands, can I close sales and get customers? And the third metric, and this one's a little bit fuzzier to measure, I want to get leads every day and clients every week so that I can have clients for a long time or even lifetime. Okay. But if you get leads every day, clients every week, and people that stick around with you, you can succeed in business. And the most important decision in making the jump is, and this is the mistake people make, is they choose their business poor. They choose the wrong business for the wrong reasons. They choose it to chase the money instead of looking what's in their soul. And so the number one thing you should do in the first step in this employee escape plan, the first step is choosing your business wisely. Do something. If I'm going to help you leave the job you hate, let's choose something where you wake up every day saying, I love what I do. I'm good at what I'm doing. I'm using my superpowers. I'm making a big impact. And wow, I even make good money doing it. And so business choice is step number one.
That's why I get all the hearts, my reactions. That's the creamy center of this talk, I think, because what did I say? If it ain't fun, why are you doing it? Now, success. I can tell you from personal experience, it's not my opinion. A 365 or a leap year, 366-day year, not every day is practically successful for me. If you have a salary job, you could argue every day is because you're still employed. But when you have your own business, there's the day that the money comes in, there's the day that someone signs the contract, there's the day that something happens. So, what are those other days? Are they unsuccessful or are they preparing you for success? So how do you
Yeah.
interpret for your clients how to prepare for success, ready for it?
Yeah, I think first of all, I'll come to that. One of my favorite time management tools is like when you know what your purpose is, when somebody says, "Hey, Paul, can you do this?" There's a very simple filter, and it's called on purpose or off purpose. And if it's off purpose, I just say no. I think there's four kinds of time, okay? There's privilege time, power time, prep time, and peon time. Privileged time is vacation. Privileged time is playing. For privileged time was spending time with your family or the people you love or your dear friends. There's no punching a time clock. You're on vacation or
You're in a space where business doesn't even exist at that point.
correct. Now, in order to get to privileged time, we need power time. We need to perform. We need to get the cash register to ring. We need to make sales. It might be one-on-one in front of a client that pays us $20,000, or it could be speaking on a stage or at a webinar where you're speaking to a large group of people. So that's your power time. Privilege time comes from power time where you get results. And for me, most of the time I spend is in prep time, creating a new program or marketing and doing those things that are daily that need to get done that lead up to the power time. For me, power time.
You get to piano. I'm sorry, you get to piano time. I have a question for you. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, the power time is to me all paths lead to my appointment engine, my calendar. So when I'm doing prep time, my goal is to get people to get on a call to see if or how I can help them, and hopefully that turns in some kind of a sale. And then peon time is sorting out, trying to find the missing sock in the sock drawer. But anyway, back to you.
Here's the question I have about that because this was I think an excellent way of defining that. And there's an energy to each one, right? So talk if you can about for yourself, if you want, the difference in what you think and what you feel in all those realms.
When you're in the privileged time, that's just fun. It's play, it's sleeping, it's no too blessed to be stressed. It's you could be whatever you want in your privileged time. Whatever your aspiration is to ride roller coasters, you could do that. And if your aspiration is to sleep, you can do that too. You have total freedom.
Well, would you call privileged also a time when you have a very relaxed, free vision time too?
Absolutely. There's times where I do nothing but daydream and ideate or ponder questions. And a lot of that actually though it's in a lot of that's in the in-between time because unlike a lot of people say I have no time. I have all the time in the world. I have an abundance mentality around time. But power time is okay. I've done my prep, but there's three kinds of confidence. There's rehearsal confidence, there's performance confidence, and there's acceptance confidence. And if you rehearse something 99 times, you can have confidence you can perform it 100 times. I've been in front of 99 customers before. I can close sales again. I can do it 100 times. Acceptance confidence.
The point of conscious confidence where you realize you're doing it and you're good at it.
Yeah, it's like an unconscious confidence.
And man, you get to the point of
confidence. But there's a third kind of confidence, which is really interesting. And I would guess you understand this one, but it's called acceptance confidence. And acceptance confidence is this understanding that our entire life we walk through doors and we walk through doors that we don't know what's on the other side of the door. And the truth is we walk through all kinds of unknown doors our whole life. And every time we've done that, we've survived. And acceptance confidence is even though I don't know what's on the other side of the door, I walk through this door and I have confidence that I have the resourcefulness, the creativity, the presence, whatever is on the other side of that door, I'm going to get through it. I'm a survivor and I get through all these things and I can do it even quite possibly with flying colors.
Awesome, Joe. Since we're at the end, I have one more question I'm going to make you answer. And this is another big question, but I think from what I've heard, you'll be able to answer this. And this is a question that if you ever had to hire someone, you can ask because the questions you really would want to know is how much money do you have? What's your health like? And can I see where you live? It'd be a great way to interview people, but this is a legal question I came up with years ago. And here it is. You have an imagination, do you not?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to stretch it. Joe, if you knew that 2 weeks from right now, you die, But as of right now, you now have all the money in the world. Tell us, Joe, how would you spend those 2 weeks in time? And how would you spend that money in 2 weeks?
If I had all the money in the world and I had 2 weeks to live, I think I would be contacting and meeting with people that I've known through my life that I love. And I would just be checking in with them and seeing what their needs are. Since I got all the money in the world, I'm going to possibly help them out in ways, maybe not the ways they're asking, but the ways in my heart. I don't do things based on people's neediness. I do it by promptings of the Holy Ghost. And so I would be looking to God. Just because Paul says this is what I need, I would be asking God, what does Paul really need? And I would be spending my time with people I love, and I would be helping them out as a gratitude for the other ways they've touched my life. They've given to me, and so I get one last chance to.
So how many days would you spend doing that?
I would just do it until I drop dead.
So in other words, the very last day, where do you want to be?
I think Steve Jobs, somebody said that on your last breath, we want to be able to gasp and say, wow, that was amazing.
His last words were wow. And the thing that goes around his last words is because I know people who was with him and he died. So yeah, cool.
Pretty amazing.
Again,
So
Joe,
we need to wrap.
tell you, how do people find you? Because everyone should find you. If you are working and you've ever had a thought of starting your own business, or maybe you have taken the lead and it sucks and it's not fun, you should be talking to my friend Joe. How do they find you?
It's very easy. Go to employeeescapeplan.com, and at the very bottom,
escapeplan.com.
Yes, at the very bottom of the page, there's a calendar, and grab a spot on my calendar, and we'll do a Zoom call where I can get to know you. You can get to know me, no cost, no obligation, and we can just have a conversation to see if or how I can help you.
I really hope you have a very long life. So excuse me for the 2 weeks you're dead question. Hope you have a very long life so you can serve all of these people in a way only you can do.
Thank you, Paul.